Good morning, students. So today we are going to discuss ideal gas equation topic. So what do you mean by ideal gas? Ideal gas means the gas which obeys all the gas laws at all conditions of temperature and pressure is called as ideal gas. The gas which obeys all gas laws, whatever the gas laws we discussed, Boyle's law, Charles' law, Avogadro's law, Gay-Lussac's law. As the pressure is increases, the volume is decreases, says by the valve. Which one? Boyle's law. As per that one, whatever the pressure is increased and whatever the volume is decreased, as the mathematical equation is given by the Boyle's law, the gas is given, that gas is said to be the ideal gas. So, as Charles' law said that the volume of a gas is directly proportional to absolute temperature at constant pressure. When volume of a gas is increased by increasing the temperature. So by increasing certain temperature, so and so certain quantity of a volume is increases you are expected. As you are expected the volume is increases exactly, then that gas is called as ideal gas. But in the nature, okay, nothing, anything, whatever it is present, that is not said to be 100% perfect. That means the ideality does not exist. That's why such a gas is said to be hypothetical. So, which is definitely, that means all the gases are deviated from which one? So, obeying the gas laws. The gases which does not obey all the gas laws at all conditions of temperature and pressure, so that is called as a real gas. So, this is the difference between ideal gas and real gas, which obeys all the gas laws. As you are expected, as you are calculated, by using that gas laws, the temperature or pressure or volume you are getting, then definitely that gas is said to be ideal gas. So, but such type of the gas never exists. So, definitely there should be some deviation. So, that deviation, whichever can be shown by the gas, that gas is called a real gas. Then, so how do you derive this ideal gas equation? This ideal gas equation is derived from the gas laws. You know very well, according to Boyle's law, the volume is inversely proportional to the pressure at constant temperature and for a fixed amount of a gas. According to Charles' law, the volume is directly proportional to the absolute temperature at constant pressure and amount of a gas. According to Avogadro's law, the volume is directly proportional to the amount of a gas, that is number of moles at constant temperature and pressure. So from these three laws, what should I write is volume is inversely proportional, volume is directly proportional to the temperature and number of moles. That is, I write volume is inversely proportional to pressure, volume is directly proportional to temperature, volume is directly proportional to number of moles. That is, I simplify write as V is directly proportional to T into N by P. Remove the proportionality with the constant value, that is R. Then V is equal to R into Tn by P. Just rearranging this equation, we get PV is equal to nRT. So this equation is called as ideal gas equation. This is ideal gas equation. So in the ideal gas equation, so P is pressure of a gas, V is volume of a gas, N is number of moles of a gas, T is absolute temperature in Kelvin. What is R? The R is called as a universal gas constant. Okay, so this R value is same for all the gases. It is called as a gas constant. That is called R is called gas constant. Gas constant. This gas constant value is the same for all the gases, but the value of R is changes with change in the units of pressure and volume, because the number of moles is always expressed in terms of a mole, but the pressure we can express in different time units, atmosphere, bar, okay, the Pascal, like that we can use the different units. The volume is also we are using the different units, liters, milliliters, meter cube, decimeter cube, like that. So based on that number of units, okay, substituted in this equation, so the value of R we are getting the different. So now here the R values, if you are substituting the value of the volume in liter and pressure in atmosphere, then we get 0.0821 liter atmosphere mole inverse Kelvin inverse. So if we substitute it in milliliter and atmosphere, the volume and pressure, then we get the value of R is 82.1 milliliter atmosphere mole inverse Kelvin inverse. If R value is the volume in liter and pressure in bar, we get 0.08314 liter bar mole inverse Kelvin inverse. If the volume is in decimeter cube, 1 liter is equal to 1 decimeter cube, so that we get the same unit 0.08314 decimeter cube bar mole inverse Kelvin inverse. If the volume of a gas is expressed in meter cube and pressure in Pascal, so the units are 8.314 Pascal meter cube mole inverse Kelvin inverse. So Pascal means you know very well, Newton for meter square. When you substitute Newton for meter square, so here Newton and meter cube, meter square is there, the meter square is cancelled, the meter is left here, 8.314 Newton meter mole inverse Kelvin inverse. So force into the work is equal to force into displacement, so that's why Newton into meter is nothing but joule, 8.314 joule mole inverse Kelvin inverse. Okay, 1 joule is equal to kg meter square second to the power minus 2. That's why 8.314 kg meter square second to the power minus 2 mole inverse Kelvin inverse. If you want to substitute the value of R in terms of the calories, so 2 calories mole inverse Kelvin inverse. If it is in kilojoules, 8.314 into 10 to the power of minus 3 kilojoule mole inverse Kelvin inverse. If it is in kilocalories, 2 into 10 to the power of minus 3 kilocalories mole inverse Kelvin inverse. Like that, the value of R is changes as we the changing the units of the volume and pressure. But most of the time, so we are using 0.0821 liter atmosphere mole inverse Kelvin inverse, or 82.1 milliliter atmosphere mole inverse Kelvin inverse, or we use 8.314 joule mole inverse Kelvin inverse. So these three we need to be remember all the time, but most of the time they might be sometimes mentioned the R value along with the numerical also. So that's why while substituting the R value, always you should be very careful. Okay, the units is very important. In which units does he ask? Suppose certain times, so in this gaseous state, the distribution of molecular speeds is there. That was deleted from your syllabus for this academic year. But in the calculation of the distribution of a molecular speed, the R value we have to be substituted. The speed means we need to be get meter per second. So to get the meter per second, so by substituting the liter atmosphere mole inverse Kelvin inverse, did you get? No. By substituting liter bar mole inverse Kelvin inverse, you are getting? No. By substituting joule mole inverse Kelvin inverse, did you get the units of meter per second? No. In that case, when you are calculating the speed, so what they substituted, the value of R is 8.314 kg meter square second to the power minus 2 mole inverse Kelvin inverse. By substituting this one only, so you are getting the exact value with the correct units of that particular speed. That's why while solving the numericals in the gaseous state, so definitely we need to be taken into the consideration of the units. These are very important. We need to be remember the value of R in which units we have to substitute. So this is try to be remember, but especially you can remember these 1, 2, this is 3 and 4. So 4 units you have to be 4 values you have to substitute. Remember 0.0821 liter atmosphere mole inverse Kelvin inverse, 82.1 milliliter atmosphere mole inverse Kelvin inverse, 8.314 joule mole inverse Kelvin inverse, 8.314 kg meter square second to the power minus 2 mole inverse Kelvin inverse. So based on that ideal gas equation, so to solve the certain numericals, we need to know the certain relations. So we know the ideal gas equation, that is PV is equal to nRT. Suppose in a numerical problem, they might be asked to calculate the density of a gas. Then how do you calculate the density of a gas? If the pressure is given, the temperature is given, and the name of the gas is also given. Then how do you get the density of a gas? By knowing the pressure and the name of a gas and temperature. In that case, we need to use this relation. So PV is equal to nRT Number of moles is equal to mass by molar mass, you substituted, then PV is equal to M by capital M into R into T. Then P is equal to, so just rearranging this equation, M by V into RT by M. Then mass by volume is nothing but density, P is equal to dRT by M. From this one, density is equal to Pm by RT. So this equation can be useful to calculate the density of a gas if pressure of a gas is given, name of the gas is given, and the temperature also is given in the numerical. And like that, suppose sometimes they might be asked the question, so the molar mass of a gas is, okay, find out. In that case, so they mention the density, they mention the temperature, or sometimes they mention the pressure, like that. So they are giving the certain factors. Based on that one, you have to be find out which gas is there. To find out the molar mass of a gas, D is equal to Pm by RT. Then molar mass of a gas is equal, just rearranging this equation, dRT by P. So this is the equation is help us to determine the molar mass of a gas. So if we know density of a gas, temperature and pressure, so by substituting that value, we are getting the molar mass of a gas. Once we know the molar mass of a gas, it might be given the multiple choice question. So that molar mass is okay, suitable to which option, that is might be right answer, like that. So they can directly not ask the question. So a gas has the density some so and so value, exhibiting the pressure so and so at a temperature 25 degrees centigrade. The gas is carbon dioxide, methane, nitrogen, oxygen. Just you can substitute the density, temperature and pressure. You are getting the molar mass. The value of molar mass is found to be, for example, 32 gram per mole. Carbon dioxide, what is the molar mass? 44 gram per mole. What is the molar mass of nitrogen? That is 14 plus 14, 28. Methane, so CH4, 12 plus 4, 16. Oxygen, O2, 32. So it is suitable to which one? Oxygen. So that's why the gas is oxygen. Like that, to find out the gas, so we are using this is the formula to calculate the molar mass. Sometimes they might not be given the density. If the density is not given, the mass of the gas is given and volume occupied by the gas is given. Molar mass is equal, in the place of density, mass by volume, R into T by P. So this is the equation is also can be useful to calculate the molar mass of a gas if mass and volume of a gas is given, temperature and pressure is given. Similarly, the one more important equation useful to solve the certain numericals. So that is, we know that ideal gas equation PV is equal to nRT. So the R is always constant, PV, so N is for a particular mole of a gas is also will be constant. The pressure, volume and temperature are variable factors. Suppose I am rising the temperature T1, there might be, okay, pressure is changes and volume is also changes. And when the temperature is changes from T1 to T2, the pressure is changes from P1 to P2, volume is changes from V1 to V2. That means if initially the pressure of a gas is P1, volume of a gas is V1 and the temperature is T1. By the changing the temperature from T1 to T2, the pressure is changes P1 to P2, okay, volume is changes from V1 to V2. Then how do you find out the relation? So P1, V1 is equal to N R T1. Then similarly, P2, V2, N R T2. In both the cases, NR is a common, that's why P1, V1 by T1 is equal to NR, P2, V2 by T2 is equal to NR, because the amount of a gas should be same. The R is always, we know that is a constant. So by equating this equation, P1, V1 by T1 is equal to P2, V2 by T2. So this is the equation also will be useful to solve the certain numericals based on the ideal gas equation. So before going to discuss this Gram's law, first let me know what do you mean by the diffusion and effusion. So diffusion is the phenomenon of spontaneous intermixing of gases even against the force of gravity to form homogeneous mixture is known as diffusion. So it's nothing but the ability of gases to intermix with each other. That is we can measure in terms of diffusion. So effusion means, so let us take in a container, in that one the gas is placed at high pressure. Just to make a small hole to that one, through that this gas can escape. So that is we called as here effusion. When a gas is at a high pressure in a container, is allowed to escape through a small hole into air or vacuum is called as effusion. So the ability of a gas to escaping through a small hole into vacuum is called as effusion. So whatever the laws we can apply for the diffusion, the same law we can also for the effusion. And here commonly we are using the one more word, rate of diffusion. Rate, you know very well. So it may be expressed as the volume of a gas diffused per unit time. How much volume of a gas is diffused per unit time, that is we called rate of diffusion. Or instead of volume, we sometimes they mention number of moles. Number of moles of gas diffused per unit time, or distance traveled by a gas molecules per unit time. So all these three are simply we called as rate of diffusion. That is, rate of diffusion is equal to volume of a gas diffused divided by time, number of moles of gas diffused per unit time, and distance traveled by a gas molecules divided by time. So like that, we write the formula, rate of diffusion is equal to volume of a gas or number of moles of a gas or distance traveled by a gas divided by time. So the Thomas was a scientist. He was conducted certain experiments. From that experiments, he find out a relation between the rate of diffusion and molar mass of a gas. That is put in the form of a law. That law is called as Graham's law of diffusion. So this Graham's law of diffusion states that at constant temperature and pressure, the rate of diffusion of a given gas is inversely proportional to square root of its density. So that is, at constant temperature and pressure, rate of diffusion is inversely proportional to square root of density. The rate of diffusion generally represented with a small r is directly proportional to 1 by square root of d. Removing the proportionality constant, then r is equal to k into 1 by square root of d. Just we discussed in the last ideal gas equation lecture. So the density and molar mass are always directly proportional to each other. So that's why in the place of density I can also write the molar mass, and the molar mass and vapor density is also will be directly proportional to each other. So that's why density, vapor density and molar mass are always proportional to each other. In the place of density I can write vapor density and molar mass, so that R is equal to K into 1 by square root of D, or R is equal to K into 1 by square root of vapor density, R is equal to K into 1 by square root of molar mass. So like that we are commonly we can write as R is equal to K by square root of D is equal to K by square root of vapor density is equal to K by square root of molar mass. And here suppose let us take the gases, their rate of diffusions are R1 and R2 and their densities are D1 and D2. You can apply for the first formula. Then R1 is directly proportional to 1 by square root of D1. R2 is directly proportional to the 1 by square root of D2. Then R1 by R2 is equal to square root of D2 by D1. Similarly, we can also write, so for the R1 and R2 are the rate of diffusions of two different gases having the vapor densities VD1 and VD2. Then R1 by R2 is equal, we can also write square root of VD2 by VD1, and we can also apply for the molar mass. So R1 and R2 are the diffusions of the two different gases having the molar mass M1 and M2. Then R1 by R2 is equal square root of M2 by M1. So from that and also we made one generalization. R1 by R2 is equal square root of D2 by D1, is equal, so square root of VD2 by VD1 is equal square root of M2 by M1. That is I will written on the board. So that is we write as R1 by R2 is equal to square root of D2 by D1 is equal to VD2 by VD1 is equal to square root of M2 by M1, because in all the cases R1 by R2, so that is a common, that is equivalent to V1. So this is the relationship is useful to calculate. So the various parameters, whatever are there, so in certain numerical. Sometimes the two gases are given and their densities are given and the molar mass might not be given. So D2 is given, D1 is given, and M2 is not given, M1 is given. Then at that time we need to be equate these two, because at that time the rate of diffusion might be same. Then square root of D2 by D1 is equal to square root of M2 by M1. Then D2, D1, M1 you can substitute, then you get the M2 value. Sometimes these two may be correlated. Sometimes R1 by R2 may be correlated with M2 by M1, like that. So this is the relation can be used to solve the certain numericals. And like that, so initially we defined the rate of diffusion is equal, so the V by T, the volume of a gas diffused per unit time, so that at different gases are having the rate of diffusion R1 and R2, their volume of gases are V1 and V2, and the time T1 and T2, then R1 by R2 is equal to V1 by V2 into T2 by T1. Similarly, we can also define the number of moles of a gas is defined, okay, diffused per unit time, the distance traveled by the gas in unit time, that is L by T. L is the distance traveled by the gas, or how much gas is diffused. That is, I can say here, okay, number of moles is also there. R is equal to N by T, the number of moles of gas is diffused per unit time, and the distance traveled by the gas, okay, in unit time. Like that we are defined here also we can write R1 is equal to, so N1 by T, then R2 is equal to N1 by T2. We are mentioned here. So that here R1 by R2 is equal, we may write as N1 by T1 into T2 by N2. So here also R1 by R2 is equal to L1 by L2 into T2 by T1. Here R1 by R2 is equal to N1 by N2 into T2 by T1. So like all these three, so either volume of a gas diffused per unit time, the distance traveled by the gas per unit time, number of moles of gas diffused per unit time, if it is okay, correlated to each other, then R1 by R2 is equal to, what you get here, L1 by L2 into T2 by T1, and that is, we can write simply here, I will write, so R1 by R2 is equal to L1 by L2 into T2 by T1 is equal to N1 by N2 into T2 by T1 is equal to V1 by V2 into T2 by T1. Like that we can write here. This is the relation we can write, like as we write in the previous case, this is R1 by R2 is equal. When these two are equated, R1 by R2 is equal to this and R1 by R2 is equal to this. When we equate all this, we are getting the large relationship, that is R1 by R2 is equal to square root of D2 by D1 is equal to square root of VD2 by VD1 is equal to square root of M2 by M1 is equal to V1 by V2 into T2 by T1 is equal to L1 by L2 into T2 by T1. We may also write as N1 by N2 into T2 by T1. So like that we can equate all the equations. So this is the equation can be used to calculate the so many numericals. So what are the basic applications of this law? So this is, I said now, just the molar mass of unknown gas can be easily determined. Suppose if the two gases are given, one gas name is mentioned very clearly, and the two gases rate of diffusions are given, then find out the molar mass of the another gas. Then rate of diffusions R1 by R2, and one gas name mentioned is very clearly, so that it is easy to determine the molar mass. Suppose the name of the gas is oxygen, then what is the molar mass of that one is 32. The another gas, not mention its name, so that we need to find out its molar mass. Then R1 by R2 is equal to square root of M2 by M1. Like that, molar mass of unknown gas can be determined by comparing its rate of diffusion with that of gas of known molar mass. And in the separation of uranium-235 from uranium-238, to separate these two isotopes, so generally this Gram's law application mass is used because both are subjected to the reaction with the fluorine and they are converted into the volatile solid. So then we are comparing the rate of diffusion. So whichever it is having the, because you know the relation R is inversely proportional to the molar mass. Whichever it is having the high molar mass, that is having the rate of diffusion is less. We can calculate the rate of diffusion for uranium-235 and uranium-238. Obviously, the 238 is the molar mass is more, that's why the rate of diffusion is less. When we are separating uranium-235 and 238, whichever it is having the high rate of diffusion, that is having the lower mass, that is uranium-235. Like that, to separate the uranium-235 from uranium-238, this is the concept is used. And in general, in the coal mines, so one of the dangerous, the poisonous gas is evolved certain times. That name is marsh gas. Its name is methane. So to identify the marsh gas, the Uncial alarm was fixed in the coal mines. This Uncial alarm is also will be working on the principle of diffusion. So these are some of the important applications of this Thomas Graham's law of diffusion.